The Real Mccoys, starring Walter Brennan, created by Irving Pincus.
Want you to meet the family known as the Real Mccoys. That's Grandpappy Amos, the head of the clan. He roars like a lion, but he's gentle as a lamb. And now here's Luke, who beams with joy since he's made Kate Mrs. Luke McCoy. From West Virginia they came to stay in sunny California. Oh, Grandpappy Amos and the girls and the boys of the family known as the Real McCoys.
Well, good morning, Luke. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning, Grandpa.
Say, now, that's the best-looking breakfast I ever did see. And fixed by the prettiest girl I ever did see.
Oh, now, Grandpa, you didn't have to say that to me.
Well, if I said it to Luke, it sounded kind of silly.
You're sure in a good mood, Grandpa.
And why not? Me and little Lucas are going fishing this morning. The sun's out bright and there's a kindly breeze a-blowing. And I can hear the fish saying to each other right now, if you gotta go, this is a perfect day for it. Well, where's asking to Luke?
Oh, Axie's over her girlfriend's. I guess little Luke overslept. You know, it was almost 11 o'clock before he got home from that night baseball game Mr. Johnson took him to.
I don't know why he had to go to that baseball game. I'd planned a fine evening for little Luke and me. I was going to take him in town. We was going to watch the television in the store window. God darn Hank.
Oh, now, don't get riled up, Grandpa. Hey, little Luke, come on. Your breakfast is ready.
I'll be there in a minute. I'm getting something I want to show Grandpa.
That little Luke. Always thinking of his old grandpa.
Morning, everybody.
Oh, morning, little Luke.
Morning, little Luke.
Morning, Grandpa.
Morning, little Luke. What you got to show your grandpa?
Ain't it a beauty? Mr. Johnson gave it to me.
Well, it ain't much of a watch, little Luke. It's only got but one hand.
Grandpa, it's a compass.
Mr. Johnson explained how it works. If you're in the woods, you can't get lost, because the hand always points north.
Well, I guess it's a pretty good invention if you want to end up in Alaska.
Mr. Johnson told me a lot of other ways to keep from getting lost.
Little Luke, I'm sure Mr. Johnson knows a lot, but couldn't we talk about something else?
That's the best idea I've heard this morning. Hey, say, little Luke, there's a package on my bureau for you. Bring it out here and we'll open her up.
Good. Sure, Grandpa.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson.
Now, Grandpa, you got no call to be mad at Hank Johnson. I think it's a real fine thing that he happens to take an interest in the kids in the neighborhood.
Oh, sure. He's retired. He's got plenty of time. He's got plenty of money to buy presents and turn my own grandson against me.
Oh, don't be silly, Grandpa. Hank Johnson is a friend of yours.
Nobody could turn little Luke again you. Why, ever since he was old enough to walk, the boy's been following you around like you was an ice cream wagon.
Here it is, Grandpa. What's in it?
Well, now sit yourself down over here. I'll show you.
New fish hooks. They're keen.
Yes, and I dug some worms this morning so fat and sassy the fish is just going to come up to whistle at them. You were going to get us a mess of fish today.
Gee, Grandpa, last night Mr. Johnson asked us kids to go to Disneyland with him today.
Disneyland?
Yeah, can I go?
Little Luke, I done took you to Disneyland a couple of times.
But he's going to take us inside.
I was planning on doing that as soon as the harvest money come in.
It's Mr. Johnson. Can I go?
Little Luke, wouldn't you rather go fishing with your grandpa instead?
You always have fun with your grandpa.
You know, if the boy wants to go to Disneyland, leave him. But you don't have to go, little Luke, if you don't want to.
But I do, Grandpa.
All right, then, son. Get your jacket.
Hello, everybody.
Morning, Hank.
Morning, Hank.
Is little Luke coming with us?
Oh, yeah, he'll be out in a minute.
Fine.
Won't you come in, have a cup of coffee while you wait?
Well, thanks, Kate. I don't think we'll have time. Well, it's a beautiful day out, isn't it, Amos?
Yeah, it was.
Say, Amos, if you've got nothing to do, why don't you come along with us? I think you might enjoy it.
Why don't you go, Grandpa?
Oh, who cares about Disneyland? Might be a lot of fun for kids and grown-ups, but that's all.
I'm ready, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, fine. Well, come on. We got a busy day ahead of us. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a nice time, little Luke. afternoon.
Oh, I was in town.
What you got there?
Oh, I bought some wrapping paper.
What's in it?
Well, nothing much. I figured if I bought the wrapping paper, you should buy something to wrap it around, you see.
It's a present for little Luke, isn't it, Grandpa?
Yeah. It's a bow and arrow set.
He'll love it.
Yeah, he's always wanted a bow and arrow set. Here's Hank Johnson and the boys now.
Hey, I'll put this in here. I want to surprise little Luke.
Hank.
We brought your boy back. We had a wonderful time.
Oh, good.
Look what Mr. Johnson gave me.
It's kind of an odd-looking package. I bet you can't guess what's in it.
I think we've got an ID.
Yeah.
I sure seen one an awful lot like it.
When we were passing this booth out at Disneyland, and little Luke looked at it so longingly, I just had to buy him this archery set.
Archery set? Then it ain't a bow and arrow?
Grandpa, archery set is another name for bow and arrow.
Well, archery's a lot of fun, Amos. Maybe sometime if little Luke will let us, you and I can have a go at it.
Sure. You put an apple on your head and we'll have us some target practice.
Well, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, little Luke. Bye, Hank.
Grandpa, why don't you relax? You're twitchy as a horse in fly time.
There's got to be some way to show up that Hank Johnson. There just got to be.
Grandpa, now don't go getting riled up against Mr. Johnson again.
Well, he's practically stole my grandson away from me. Little Luke didn't even come and say goodnight to me.
That's because it's only 7 o'clock. Little Luke don't go to bed for 2 more hours yet.
We was all so close together. Well, it seems only yesterday that I bought him his first book of fairy stories. I can see him now. Every night before he went to bed, he'd crawl up my lap and read them to me.
Now, look, Grandpa, there's no sense in you getting
how do
all...
I look? Oh, beautiful, Hassie, just beautiful.
Pass, you're going to be the prettiest one at the party.
What do you think, Grandpa?
Oh, you look pretty good. For a girl.
Oh, Hassie, don't pay him no mind. He's just in a bad mood tonight. Good night, honey, and have yourself a good time. Good night.
Oh, yes. Well, how pretty you look. If you were wearing glass slippers, I'd say you were Cinderella on the way to the ball.
Well, thank you. Night. Bye, Hassie.
Pretty soon they'll be calling him Grandpa.
Mr. Johnson, come on in.
Well, thank you, kid. Good evening, Lou.
Good evening, Hank.
Good evening, Amos.
Little Luke's in his bedroom.
I didn't come to see little Luke. I've got a kind of a problem, Amos, and I need your help.
You want my help? Well, I'd be right glad to give it to you. In any way I can. Sit yourself down.
Well, it seems that I've been talking a little too much to the boys about woodcraft and fishing, you know, and before I knew where I was, they got me to promise to take them on a fishing and hiking trip tomorrow.
Well, you done took them every place else.
Well, the trouble is, they think I know a lot about outdoor life, and really I don't know anything about it at all.
You don't, huh?
As a matter of fact, I haven't even got a sense of direction. And I've never built a fire or done any fishing in my life. So I was hoping, would you come along and cover for me? Would you do that for me?
I don't know of nobody I'd rather do it to. I mean, for.
Hank. Hank, I was thinking that if you need somebody that knows camping and fishing, maybe I ought to go along with you and save Grandpa the trouble.
No trouble at all.
Grandpa, maybe Luke should go. You know, all that hiking's mighty tiring. Wouldn't you rather stay home and rest?
No, I wouldn't. I'm thinking about Hank.
I'm thinking of Hank, too.
Now, Amos, if you don't feel up to it.
I never felt more up to something in my life.
Well, Grandpa, your eyesight, that ain't been too good lately.
My eyesight's perfect. And my memory's pretty good, too.
Then I can count on your help, Amos?
Yes, sir. I'm already figuring out ways.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good night, Lou. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night,
Good night,
Mr.
Hank.
Johnson.
Night.
Grandpa, we know what you're up to and you can't do it. Why, Mr. Johnson's practically put himself in your hands.
It's like a miracle. There must be some McCoys up there that's got some influence.
Grandpa, the way your mind's working now, I'd say you was being influenced by the other branch of the Mccoys.
It's lost easy. Can't build a fire. Don't know how to fish. It's a miracle, all right. It's like sending away to a mail order house for a pair of shoes and getting the perfect fit.
Your canteens are all full, are they? Good. And the straps firm? That's good. Oh, you look fine.
Well, if we're going to Indian Point, we better get going.
Oh, we got to get going, yeah. Which direction do we take?
That way.
There we go. All right, men. Forward! Hup. Still. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Hank, just a minute, Hank.
Oh.
Yeah, but Hank, you meant to go that way, didn't you? That's the best direction to take to go to Indian Point.
Well, I think.
That's a shortcut.
I'm afraid you're wrong, sir. I've camped at Indian Point many times, and that's absolutely the only way.
Well, perhaps we'd better go that way. All right, men. Follow me. Hut.
What's your name, son?
Leonard?
I wish I had a little boy like you. Yes, sir, I sure would.
Well, boy, I guess this is Indian Point. We finally made it.
We're lucky we found it. Mr. McCoy must have taken the wrong turn at least 4 times.
It's a good thing Mr. Johnson and I were there to set him straight.
I can't figure it out. Grandpa never got lost in these woods before.
Well, I suppose it could happen to any of us when we reach his age. Would you like me to help you off with your pack, sir?
Get away.
Well, boys, I guess the first thing to do is to build a fire, huh?
Okay, everybody gather wood.
Amos, I suppose the boys will expect me to start the fire. Now, how do I go about it?
Well, first you get some thick, heavy logs, you see. Yeah, that's what you start a fire with.
Thick, heavy logs?
Yeah, and of course, the heavier they are, the better. Because they sort of hold the fire down, you see, and keep it kind of snug. And I see, there's some right here. Yeah. You see? Now I have one back here. Just
Well, these are kind of damp.
Well, that's good, you see. They don't burn up so fast. Fellas like that and put them in the fire, they'll burn for months.
Aren't they a little difficult to light?
Well, yeah, probably take a match or 2 more, but it's worth it. And now for some nice, fresh green leaves. Wet ones, you see.
Wet green leaves?
Yeah, you see. You put this on top of the fire, you see. It's the Mccoy method. It sort of keeps the smoke nice and fresh.
Well, is this all we need for the fire?
Well, we can pick up other stuff as we go along, but that's enough to start it. Well, come on, let's get going.
I found some firewood scattered right around here, so I thought I could save us some time by starting the fire. I hope it's all right, sir.
Oh, it's an excellent fire. I couldn't have done as well myself.
Where did you find those damp logs, sir? They're just perfect for the fire.
They are?
Why, sure. Any woodsman knows that when a log is old, you just peel away the wet bark, and underneath it you find good dry wood that burns better than anything else.
What are all those wet leaves for?
I guess he doesn't have any idea, Mr. Johnson. Maybe you had better tell him.
The wet, Amos?
Go ahead and tell him, Hank. Come on.
Well, the wet...
It's the best way to cook fish. You wrap them in wet leaves and bury them in hot ashes. That's how the Hawaiians do it, and they're the best cooks in the world.
Right. It's a trick I learned in Hawaii.
Gee, Grandpa, Mr. Johnson sure knows how to cook fish.
Yeah, he's almost good as Leonard is at cooking gooses.
All the talk about cooking's making me hungry. When do we eat?
Well, we better catch you some fish first.
Let's go.
Say, Leonard, why don't you just stay here with the kids and get the beans and the potatoes ready, see? And Hank will go down to the pond and catch us a mess of fish.
Oh, well, now, I may not have any luck, you know.
Well, now, Hank, don't be so gall-jud and modest. You know you're the best fisherman around here. Now, look, if I know Hank is going to take these two of you kids to carry the fish back here. Come on.
Well, all right.
You going to fishing too, Grandpa?
No, I'm just going to wet a line, little Luke. I'm going to stand around and see how the experts does it.
That Leonard's a clever little boy, isn't he? He's going to grow up to be a remarkable man.
Yeah, if somebody don't stop him. It's pretty warm here in the sun.
Amos, if I don't catch any fish, I'm going to look awful silly in front of those kids.
Don't worry, Hank. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what kind of bait to use.
Well, I'm getting it for you.
What's that?
It's the bait.
A dill pickle?
Why, sure, there ain't nothing fish likes better than dill pickles.
Are you sure?
Why, sure, back home, that's all us Mccoys ever use. It's been years since one of us Mccoys caught a fish that wasn't already pickled.
Well, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but I thought you were wrong about the wet leaves and the logs. When it turned out you were right, I must admit I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, well, we all get surprises sometimes.
Well, Amos, you're using worms?
Sure, I'm leaving all the pickle eaters for you. I ain't here to catch fish. And there ain't no better way not to catch fish than to use good old-fashioned worms. Come on, let's fish. Thunderation, you hooked my sweater.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here, give me that line. Take mine. Boy, you rip it. Kate knitted that sweater for me all by herself.
Grandpa's got a bite.
Wait till I tell the kids Mr. McCoy caught his own sweater.
Something on here.
Wow, look at that beauty, Mr. Johnson.
You haven't caught a thing, Grandpa?
Oh, well, actually, he was the one that...
Let's take it back and show it to the others.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson is sure some fisherman.
I tried to explain to them, Amos.
Never mind, let's fish here.
I'll take this back and see if I can dry it for you.
Just can't figure it out. Everything seems to be coming out backwards.
Fine fisherman I turned out to be. The only one I caught turned out to be yours.
You still got a good pickle on your line there. Give it time.
Amos, you must think I'm awful silly trying so hard to impress these boys. But it's important to me. I was an only child, you know. I always wanted a brother.
Only child, huh? We had 8 boys in our family. 9 counting the dog.
Amos, you don't know how lucky you are to have a grandson like little Luke. I'd give anything to trade places with you and have that little fella call me Grandpa. Amos, I don't know whether you understand it or not, but it seems to me the only pleasure I have in life now is being around these kids. Because when they look up to me, they make me feel kind of important and needed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How's the fishing, Mr. Johnson? Have any luck?
Oh, well, I'm afraid I didn't do very well.
Didn't do very well. Why, look at the string of fish he done caught. I told you he was a champion fisherman around these parts.
Oh, Amos, he...
Wow, that's what I call fishing.
Didn't you catch anything, Grandpa?
Not a nibble, son. You see, when a great fisherman like Hank Johnson's around, the fish don't bother with an amateur like me.
Oh, no, Amos, I think you should explain. Now,
Say, now,
explain.
look, why don't you take these fish and get them ready? We're going to have a whopping big fish fry. Go on, get going now. Go on.
Mr. McCoy,
Yeah?
There's no need for anyone to be a poor fisherman. When you have some time, I'll be glad to give you a few lessons.
Now you... All right, son. I guess I could use a few. Thank you.
Thanks, Amos.
Don't thank me. I know you think I'm a fine fella, but don't leave my nice looks fool you. I'm just no good.
I think I know what you're trying to say. You didn't want me to catch any fish, did you?
How'd you know that?
Well, even a city slicker'd be suspicious of dill pickle for bait.
Yeah. I guess I should have given you credit for being smarter than I thought you was. Imagine me trying to fool you with a dill pickle. Ain't no fish in the world that bite on the...
Hey, there's something on the deal. Whopper.
You stand aside. Stand aside. Let me have it.
Oh, look at that. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Can you imagine that with a dill pickle, too?
Oh, come on, let's take it back and show to the kids.
No, you go on shore to the kids. I'm going to do some dill pickle fishing.